Clint Boyer has twice taken advantage of the free pass to stay on the lead lap. But since then, they've made gains on his Chevy. He's up to 13th. Slipping and sliding.
I'm telling you right now, the track is as slick as it's been all day. Trying as hard as you can try right now. Coming down the end of the day, you're going to see a lot of cars out of control.
And Greg Biffle in a backup car has done an admirable job, although he's one of those trying to knock the wall down at either end, as is Martin Truex, who started 13th and runs in 11th.
He's just been hanging inside that top 15 for most of the day.
I know you mentioned him a little bit ago, and we're not on him now, but Sam Hornish, I feel sorry for him. Yep. His car has gone sour. You can hear it when it goes by, and he's falling back through the field. But what a great job he did early on here today.
Paul Menard has been strong all day long, and Larry, this could be a career day for Menard.
Yeah, I mean, this is his 115th start. He only has 2 top 10 finishes in those 115 starts.
Tony Stewart has been up front. He's made an unscheduled stop. He's come back from that. The caution fell in the right place for him to get a wave around, and Smoke started out back with an engine change, and he's now 9th. And A.J. Allmendinger, we said there'd be some surprises in this race, and this is one of the top 2. Allmendinger in 8th place, giving that Richard Petty Ford a great ride today. When Paulo Montoya led a bit, ran in the top 5 a lot, and now seems to have settled in 7th place. But the big surprise of the race, Brad Keselowski triggered a caution, hit the wall, but has rebounded, Dick, to run in 6th place.
Jay Guy watched the tape of last year's race, realized they needed to start off quick on the restarts. That's what they worked on. They got it. They're fast.
Matt Kenseth, 2nd of the Fords in this race in his Roush Fenway number 17, and 5th on the board. Had a decent qualifying run, which surprised him a little. He says he's not a good qualifier here. He started 14th. 4th is Denny Hamlin's Toyota. Hamlin was elated this morning when he got a text wishing him well in the race today from Michael Jordan. He's pretty jazzed up about that.
It's making Michael happy.
Ahead of him, the battle is for 2nd, and it's Kurt Busch and Jimmy Johnson.
I got a text from Tim Tebow, said he brought my car back.
Empty on gas.
Yeah, you were even happier.
But I definitely think this 2 car is starting to go away a little bit, and as Darrell put it, I think he's just lurking, that 48.
Let's hear what the lurker had to say.
3171, what have you got now? Pretty damn good.
That's way better than when it's that good.
He is 2.3 seconds behind race leader Casey Kane, and battling Kurt Busch, last year's winner, for 2nd.
He is really good. You know how you know he's good? Because he came off that corner underneath that 2 car, and the car didn't slip, slide, get sideways, or anything else. He just powered right up underneath it.
And that's the most confidence I've heard in his voice in a couple of weeks, even after winning Las Vegas last week.
Steve?
Mike, Kurt Busch just told Steve Addington, I'm tracking a little bit to the loose side. They're already talking about their adjustments for the next pit stop. They're going to drop the track bar and drop some air out of the front tires.
Boy, that 48 car had his hands full then, didn't he?
Take back what I said.
Good job, Busch. Good job.
Let's see that again.
He's trying really hard. He wants to get around Kurt here, but oh my goodness. You know what that looked like? Too much rear brake. That's right where you would apply a little bit of brake to get that car to turn. May have just stepped on that brake pedal a little too hard.
Just to set the stage, we have 64 laps to go. If we stay green, we will have green flag pit stops coming up in about 12 to 16 laps. Might be the money stop.
When you're doing that, though, you get your right rear tire mad.
Can Jimmy Johnson make it 3 wins in a row?
It's going to take brains and brawn to finish up front.
Back live in Atlanta, Casey Kane has led 127 plus laps, by far the most in this race. Kurt Busch, who's led 80, is running second, and Jimmy Johnson going for his third straight. Denny Hamlin running fourth at the time. Jeff Hammond came in with a tire problem moments ago.
Yeah, we're getting a report from down on pit road. His right front tire looked a lot like the 18 car of Kyle Busch, and definitely had some fraying on that right front, so he had to make an unscheduled pit stop, and this definitely puts him at odds with everybody else. If it cycles through, he can have more laps on his tire than anybody else, and that's really hurt you all day long.
Just 57 laps to go.
And watching that car, Dale Jr. was definitely sideways right there when the 5 car of Mark Martin. Take a look at this, Chris. Coming off his corner, Mark kind of started looking underneath him. You see the 88, he gets sideways. You can see him inside there, working it inside there. You can see his hands back and forth, trying to save that 88 car.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr., our pole sitter, has not led a lap all day. 2 laps down currently, and is having some problems.
Yeah, he's
here.
currently running 30th right now. He's had tire issues all day long. But here's the guy that's really risen to the top of the cream of the crop all day long. The 9 car of Casey Kane had some troubles on pit road, but he's been fighting his way back all day long. His car has been solid. No mistakes, no problems, any kind of tires all day long.
And Casey Kane, his future, like that Oscar-nominated movie Up in the Air. I mean, he's not sure he's going to be back with Richard Petty Motorsports 4.
Well, he keeps having solid runs like this. There's no reason to leave Richard Petty Motorsports. But the key is, and Larry McReynolds was talking about it a minute ago, we've got pit stops coming up here in a short while. And if the guys, we restarted this race on roughly 2:30, so that means you kind of split it. You need to make about 48 laps and then make another 48 laps to finish this race. And I think that's what I'd like to do if I was a crew chief. The key is, I think with the 9 cars, don't get caught staying out too long. The guys are going to start making their pit stops, I think, in the next 8 or 10 laps.
And we saw earlier they lost 6 spots, the 9 crew, but Casey Kane was able to make that up. So don't forget to vote for the fastest pit crew. Text your selection to 2258.
Here are the guys I've been liking all day long. The 2 of Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin's crew's been solid, even though he had a problem just a moment ago, as well as the 9 car of Casey Kane.
And delivered by AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. As we're looking at pit stops, let's check in Tony Stewart and Steve Burns.
Chris, Tony Stewart down pit road. He just told his crew it's nice on entry and exit. It's just a little bit too tight in the center. See a chassis adjustment on the 14, obviously 4 tires. 4 tires is packed full of gas, and he's away back up to Mike Joy.
Thanks, Steve. Regan Smith is in right behind him. The pit window has just barely opened, meaning that if the race stays green, they can go the distance from here.
Yeah, what Darian Grubb, crew chief for Tony Stewart, did, he got to that window and said, you know what, we're going to try to take advantage of fresh tires just as quick as possible.
Elliott Sadler and Bill Elliott choosing to do the same with 52 laps to go.
The good thing, though, Jeff Hammond just touched on it. With Casey Kane, he can play a little bit of cat and mouse here. He has a 4-second lead to play with. He can let a lot of those guys hit pit road. He's got all that he can kind of stay out there, because the last thing he wants to do is short pit and get burnt by a caution.
Second of our lead lap cars to pit is Marcus Ambrose. Krista.
Mike, Marcus had been losing the handling on his race car. It was hitting a ground. They're going to take the time to put a Packer in the left front. You see the 47 come in there. The crew over on the right side. They're going to take a little bit of extra time on the left side. Matt.
Jimmy Johnson keyed to Mike and said, I've got a flat, possibly left front. I am coming now. Jimmy said the car was really in the racetrack. He needed to roll better, though, through 3 and 4, the center. To Steve.
And Keselowski. Steve.
Well, guys, Steve Addington just told Kurt Busch, bring it down. Tony Stewart just short pitted us. Kurt says I'm loose everywhere. They're going to make a track bar adjustment for Kurt Busch.
Dale Jr.'s in. Scott Speed stopping as well, as is Kevin Harvick. And here's Juan Montoya. Dick Berggren.
Montoya ordinarily talks about the behavior of his car and lets the crew decide what to do to it. This time, he both talked about the behavior of the car and what he wanted the crew to do with tire pressure and also chassis adjustments. They've been fighting grip all day long. Krista.
Remember, the 31 had brake issues. They had to clamp off the rear brake line. They had no rear brakes. He had a speeding penalty last time he was in. Now Jeff Burton, crew working on the right side, trying to get the handling right on his race car. Matt?
And Matt Kenseth wanting a air pressure change, and they were also talking about a chassis adjustment for the 17. The back just not in the racetrack like he needed on that 17 machine.
Clint Boyer, Brian Vickers, now Martin Truex in the pit lane, Jamie McMurray, Bobby Labonte. They push him out, get him going and away. Allmendinger's in. And